What's going on, everybody? It's Childish back at it again, coming at you with another Summoner's War video. And in today's video, we're going to be bringing back Eve to showcase how he climbed up in the ranks to get himself a top 10 finish here in the Challenge Arena. So I want to give Eve one more time a big shout out for coming on board. Eve, it's good to have you here. How you been, man?
Hey, thanks for welcoming me. I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing a lot of new things recently. They've been updating quite a few big changes, such as everybody's pretty familiar now, I reckon, with the energy system we got going on. It's really enabling a lot of players to channel their resources into specifically what they want to farm each day instead of just generally farming everything each day.
Right. And you make a good point there because of, again, for those of you guys that haven't caught our original video, he showcased a little bit of gameplay in RTA utilizing Delphi, one of the most underrated and overlooked units in the game. But one of the things that you learned in that video is that Eve is free to play. And again, in the top ranks here, he's one of the most efficient players out there. He always looking at the next best way to maximize the true potential of his account, be efficient with regards to his resources here. So of course, with the recent change, having the energy and whatnot here, he had to look at a variety of ways to climb up the ranks because ultimately it was not realistic. But he has now found a way, like I said, to kind of really push in the challenge arena. And that's what we wanted to showcase for you all today. So again, fam, if you guys are excited about this kind of content, bringing people on board and them sharing their tips and tricks for you, I need you to do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, hit the notification bell so you guys know when the next video drops here. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it here. Eve, I'm going to leave you the floor here. Let's just jump into the change of the, tickets to the energy and just some of the things that you have essentially been doing to kind of get those tickets back up there.
Yeah. So with the recent changes, they took away the repeat request in Rukarangma, which a lot of people were spamming in the past to get a ton of Path of Growth tickets.
Right.
So that way they could just keep farming all their runes and whatnot. So everybody's been trying to figure out which repeats that they want to go for a lot of the time. Everybody likes having something nice and AFK to do on the side, of course.
Right.
And I've been testing around. I really like getting all of these summons from the Kantana repeat request. As well, my brother was telling me he's been liking farming crystals from selling these yarns and faint magic cores. But something that really interested me last night was, as a free-to-play, it's so tough for me to compete with the ranks in Challenge Arena. But with this Challenge Arena one,
right.
I actually feel incentivized to farm the heck out of this now with this energy system. Like, look, I can just recharge right here. Easy. Stop my repeat for now. Boom. I've got a ton of these ready. And it's going to get me like 26 entries from my Challenge Arena. So if I farm those for about a day or two, I can get enough entries to get at least 1,000, maybe more Challenge Arena ranking points, which has been beautiful. I'm not used to this. Usually, as a free-to-play, I just go for the 4,600 and accept it. It's too tough to go for that 6K rank.
Right.
But something that Korea got recently, which will be a near future update for the rest of us here, is a lot of these rewards that you'll compete for from the season and the weekly will be shifted down towards the 5K rating, which is a lot more obtainable for a lot of the players, actually. So if anybody's thinking about trying to actually, compete and get those rewards, maybe some LD scrolls even, you'll actually be able to do that a lot easier pretty soon here.
Right. And I don't have I was gonna say, I don't have the actual current, change pulled up as far as the recent patch goes. Do you recall that 5K mark? What are some of the resources that people are looking at versus what we see right now?
Yeah, so I believe that this Master 3 is going to be just shifted down to 5K.
Gotcha.
So I believe that you'll get an LD scroll and these crystals, of course, which is pretty nice. A lot of people like going for those LD chants. As well, this seasonal reward, 20 Mystic Scrolls is a pretty big shift from 6. So it'd be pretty nice for a lot of players.
Yeah. For anybody that enjoys the summon, which is pretty much everybody, right? If any kind of opportunity to get some free scrolls is obviously really, really good.
Mhm.
What are the things that you were talking about when it comes to challenge arenas? Not only did you change the way about you go about your arena tickets, you also change the way you go about your kind of strategy. I think prior to we showcased like a full on kind of damage build Kina, but you recent changed it for all those Kina units out there to kind of go with a more like bruiser, I suppose. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I've been definitely testing around. I got a good amount of DPS Kina experience because I've always had this trinket, which I got really lucky. It has an S5 roll. This was 66.6% crit damage, but what I've noticed from being DPS Kina, when your health is really low and your defense is really low, it's a struggle. All these
Sure.
Zorbias out here, they'll tap you immediately, and all the Tsarians and whatnot. A lot of the meta will just blow up a Kina in a moment if they don't have enough health or defense.
Gotcha.
So I was having a pretty good time testing around my comps, of course, but I kind of found that I needed to be a little tankier. There's just too many things uh, have high damage in the meta. So I wanted to compensate for it. I changed my crit damage to health percent. That added on over 10,000 health. Big difference. And that's actually made a phenomenal difference in my challenge arena. It's been pretty nice in Brawl and Battlefield, but not the best. It could be a little tankier perhaps. But anybody who's looking to do their challenge arenas, having probably about 60,000, 3,500 defense, I feel it's just tanky enough to get you through a lot of your challenge arena fights with that auto defense.
Right. And
Beforehand, they didn't allow you to get through your rotation of abilities.
okay. And so one thing that I want to point out as well is, the emphasis that we're putting on when it comes to your seminar. Obviously, you can have quite a handful of units to kind of assist you in getting that rank, but you've really, really prioritized your seminar essentially, because it's like part of every single combination you do. Um, the strategy that you use to climb up with the DPS Kina now versus then, are you still using the same, 2 to 3 monsters that you incorporated, I believe, in the previous video that we're talking about? Or have you mixed it up since now you're a little bit more of a bruiser build to kind of let you climb up here in the ranks?
Yeah, so I have actually been mixing it up a little. Before, I felt like I had to use something to take the first turn. And by that, I mean like Tion here has a 3 mana ability to reduce the other monster's cooldowns. So that's really cheap. You can use it at the start of the fight and just immediately do what you want. Before, I felt rushed, like I had to do that, otherwise the enemy was going to blow me up before I could do anything else. But now that I have a tankier Kina, it kind of enables me to like sit out my rotation of abilities. A lot of my arena offenses, I'll just have on Kina, the level 70 heals, the alternate abilities you could acquire are really nice. So you could just sit there and wait for the enemy, deal a little bit of damage, heal yourself. And I've actually shifted out of the Tion. I've started using my Veramos here. Nice cleansing unit. Is
Mm-hmm.
tanking up in the front line. It's been a really big change of pace because all of my arena offenses have been failing against a ton of these players. Too bad people kept revenging me. I could show you my history before. You can see this win rate though. It's pretty high,
Yeah.
87.7%.
Yeah, you've been doing pretty good.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, it's just been really nice not feeling so rushed, having some health. I did like DPS Kina, but it feels good to be PvP viable again.
Sure, sure, sure. And again, you've said about like some of the things you kind of dealt with and whatnot. For anybody that's a Kina user out there that may be, like trying to incorporate the same strat, what are you seeing right now as people push? What are you seeing right now in the high ranks when it comes to cleaves? Same kind of strategy, Orbia, same kind of strategy. I know that we had the recent change in with the Galleon having the higher mana cost. So I'm not sure if people are still trying to gas it up and go YOLO. What's everyone been kind of doing these days?
Yeah, so most of the players have shifted out of the Galleon, and I've actually seen quite a few people picking up the Kina compared to before. I think before about 1/6 of the players that you'd see in high ranking would be Kina. Now it's more like 1/5. Not a big difference, but it's quite noticeable. And with that change, a lot of people are trying out a bunch of different builds. They're not used to the new summoners that they're changing to and whatnot.
Okay.
Um, a lot of Kinas are testing. Like I saw Bana here. I actually went full DPS Kina, like I was just now. Really squishy, but it does hurt
Hmm.
more than people anticipate.
And I'm actually surprised to see that people like Benya and whatnot, like they're busting out like the Dragon Knights and whatnot, which I've heard a lot of a lot of going back and forth, little controversy as far as the effectiveness of them, or if they're meta, they're not, if they're going to be hype or not, and it looks to be like people are messing around with them and seeing a little bit of success with them, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I've been seeing some chows, the Water Dragon Knight. Those are actually a lot tankier than people expect. It's tough
Hmm.
to take them out. But I think the most common one I see is Leica, the Fire Dragon Knight. Really good counterattack monster. Works well with Despair, of course, because
Sure.
of that counterattack.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And another thing that I want to focus on, I know obviously you and your brother are Keenan users, but obviously you connect with a lot of people in the community, Cleefs and Orbeez and whatnot here. As far as the like kind of things that you guys have been discussing in the high ranks, do you know if any of the Cleefs or Orbe users have kind of shared in the insight, as far as their overall strategy? I mean, if people are, like I said, are people still going kind of bruiserish, or do you feel like just kind of a blend depending on what you have or what you have available when it comes to monsters?
Um, so lately I've seen people experimenting a bit more. There's something that people call gas
Yep.
comps. And by gas, they just mean full offensive, like a bunch of assassins and warriors and whatnot. Just try to take down the opponent as quick as you can, but you're kind of setting the game on a timer because you're not going to be able to heal yourself for a long time with a comp like that.
Right, right,
Like
right.
my brother Baker's goods here. You see, his team is completely full offense. It looks weird, but it
Right,
actually works. He makes it work.
right. And let's kind of talk about that real quick since we got that topic going on. Gas teams, YOLO teams, whatever you want to call it, teams with like specific archetypes to focus on, whatever unit that you're looking to kill. Like, what is it? Is archers the ones that generally people go for? Is it assassins that generally people go for? What kind of units do you think people are focusing on when it comes to that kind of strategy to take people out?
Yeah, generally you would see a lot of assassins, but there's been a few warriors popping up. Like Genos is really popular in the meta, and I've been seeing a lot of Garos as well. You probably don't see them in the match history 'cause a lot of people ban it. But yeah, a lot of assassins have been picking up recently. They changed the AI. So in the past, the assassins, if they get low, they'll run away from you and just stand there. But now they won't just do that when they're low HP. They'll just keep fighting and actually being useful. So assassins have actually gotten a buff in a way, thanks to that.
Good deal.
Um, a lot of people have been testing more gas comps. I think that might be part of why. My brother was mentioning Kina doesn't have one of those passives like Orbea's Shield or Cleef's Endure. I think a part of the gas comps that have been popular recently is the rise in Kinas. A lot of players are changing over to Kina, and it's actually really good at just taking her out. She's not quite as tanky as some people think if you bring full damage.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, she doesn't have that passive to save her. Sometimes you can just take her out in the first rotation of abilities.
Right. I'm actually kind of glad to see that the meta is kind of constantly evolving. I remember, months ago when basically like people were just like, if you're not playing the Cleef, you're wrong. Cleef was just so outrageously strong that it's just hard to, compete up there. But of course, people like yourself and Baker Girls and whatnot, they still kind of stuck to their guns and played Keenan and did just as well. But obviously, early on in the game, it was a little bit more unbalanced, and so obviously I see people lean in a specific way because it's just ultimately a stronger unit as of right now. Um, Real quick, since we do know that it's going to be coming here, just to kind of get your opinion on it, I know we're kind of going off a little off topic, but Soletta, the new summoner that's going to be coming in play, what's your overall thoughts on it? And do you think you'll be partaking in testing it out or what?
Oh, I've had a plan in the makings for Soletta for probably close to a year now, actually. Like
Okay.
ever since she was revealed
Hmm.
as something that's going to be coming out. So I I think it's very likely, considering all of the precision scaling monsters like the archers that have been coming out recently. I think she's going to have some scaling precision. I think I'm going to have to try and think about building some gear for that. But what I've been doing in the works is I've been saving up a load of Path of Growth tickets and a load of those quick battle tickets that they released semi recently.
Mm-hmm.
Quick battle permits.
Right.
I've got 900 of these stacked up. So once Soletta comes out, I'm going to farm a bunch of these Path of Growths and just
Jesus.
level her up immediately.
I thought when I had like a couple hundred early on in the game, I was a baller, but you literally got almost 4,000. That is actually
Yeah.
insane. How many tickets you got there, but that's good because, like I said, it's going to be really, really easy to do it. And honestly, that should be you should make that a video, like how you level this one from 1 to 70 in like two
Yeah.
seconds. That would be pretty sick. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah. I want to be the first Soletta main. That's my goal.
I think you will
And
be. I think you will. If you got the day off of work and you're available right when the things drops, I can't imagine anyone's going to be able to contest you if they don't have
yeah,
exactly what you
yeah.
got. So, but getting back into one of the things that I always like to focus on when it comes to having you on the channel is, kind of the free to play aspect. And we talked a little bit prior to the video starting, free to play versus pay to win. Maybe some of the things that you would kind of focus on now, given the recent change when it comes to the energy sphere. So, again, you're obviously a very, very dominant PvP player, so you got a lot of motivation to work on that right now. But let's say you're not super focused on PvP. Maybe you're just a casual player. Whatnot. What would be some of the things that you would recommend to the community out there to do as far as maximizing their overall efficiency with like their energy crystals, so on and so forth?
Yeah. So, as far as the energy goes, it's really nice just being able to channel into what resources you want. Like, if
Hmm.
you want runes, feel free to just put everything into all of your paths. Like, they're very good. They've always been good.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like a lot of people who've been playing a long time haven't been struggling as much with these essences anymore. So you probably could avoid those if you want, but if you need them, feel free. They're not too expensive on the energy. But what I've been happy with the most recently is these repeats. I've been farming, apart from the arena tickets, I've been doing a bunch of these unknown scrolls from this Kantana repeat request, and I think that's like my biggest bang for my buck that I've been enjoying from recharging on these energies because it really just gets you a lot of Breath of Life, really
Hmm.
helps you build a lot of these monsters. With the recent release of Guild Siege, a lot of people are struggling on Breath of Life. You
Hmm.
gotta have all these defenses set up and whatnot, you know?
Yep. Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. I kind of laughed at the fact because we had, our community here, Error, we had a, once the thing first came out, I was like, all right, guys, what are we looking to build? Like, what are we looking to focus on? Because of course, with Sky Arena, we were all about, building, towers based on a specific strategy, specific thing. But of course, this is completely different because of the fact that not only do we not all have the same units, most of us have the basic like 4 stars 1 up, but we're all different summoners. So
Yeah.
every team is not going to work exactly how you try to pick it out. You can get close, but ultimately it's not going to be as perfect. So once we kind of got into trying to figure it out and whatnot, we're like, oh wait, well, at the end of the day, we realized that we just need, regardless of what it is, because we were getting close to the first round of matches. We are like, okay, forget like focusing on specific like teams. We're not here. Just get units, get defenses set up. We need defenses, right?
Yeah.
Get units built, and yeah. So
So, as far as those repeats for the unknown scrolls I was talking about, level 80 for monsters and summoners is coming out soon. And for the monsters, you're gonna need a lot more Breath of Life. I think a lot of people are gonna struggle on that. That's part of why I've been farming it, is because you get a lot of summons for all these 3 stars, and you could actually just easily exchange these 1-to-1 on the 3 stars for Breath of Life, which I think is gonna come in big for a lot of people.
yeah. And one
Uh,
one thing to point out here, I mean, I don't know if you were like me back in the day, but I used to like when I was doing Breath of Life, I would like pick a handful of 3 stars and like, oh, let me take a little bit of him, a little bit of that. I didn't want to take like all of one because like you never know, you might use it, especially for now being able to have Siege available, and we're going to be using some lower end monsters. So are you just one of those people out there that you're like any 3 star monster is fodder, just feed it for Breath of Life, or were you specifically saving certain 3 stars, like to to save because you're like, oh, we need the skills for this. This unit looks promising for siege. That looks promising for siege. Anything like that?
Yeah. I would say on the 4 stars, I like saving up some of them, just enough to awaken them to level 15 if I want to for that monster, which I don't think is too expensive. I could actually probably just look real quick right here. Um, 4, 8, 12, 16. Oh, I'm thinking about the wrong thing here. The awakening doesn't
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
breath of life, my bad.
yeah. I thought it did, but I think it
Oh
does. You
wait,
just
I know,
gotta get
I'm talking
yeah.
about pieces.
You gotta level up a little
Alright.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the rewards change, or the costs change. So, yeah, for some of the 4 stars, I'll save some of those pieces I need. Like, right here, I need 10. Yeah, you need like 50 in order to awaken 15. So some of the 4 stars, maybe I'll only exchange part of it, but the other part of it I'll leave empty. It's like this, so I keep like about 50 of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, if I were gonna exchange for something. But as far as 3 stars go, if you want to build it like immediately, maybe save a few. Otherwise, you can feel comfortable getting rid of them. They'll come back pretty quick.
Right. Oh, there you go. You just completed your quest there. So more
Yeah.
arena tickets for you to use. So yep. But yeah, I think we kind of covered a lot of the things that we were looking to discuss here. But obviously, I love to leave the floor open for you for anything that you feel would be really, really good to share for the community when it comes to either PvP or PvE. Anything that, like I said, you've learned post patch that you think would be useful.
Yeah. So for the next 3 days, currently is July 16th, we have our arena wheel going on, which gives really good awards actually. And especially for the free to play community, but genuinely anybody out there, if you're thinking about farming those arena tickets like I was doing, you could actually generate so much out of this. I think it's really good for people to start taking advantage that you could just get a bunch of scrolls, enhancement shards. Everybody could go for more of those coins. And I think the big one a lot of people like is the crystals.
Hmm. Hmm.
Last night I spammed. Turns out Challenge Arena has a maximum of 100 entries, so that's why I can't showcase any Challenge Arena right now, unfortunately. I ran out. I didn't know. But yeah, I used up all of my 100 last night and easily climbed to very close to 6,000 for my first time in ages. And the amount of crystals I got, I think was probably close to 2 to 3,000 just in a day.
Right.
I think a lot of players would be really happy to farm 2 to 3,000 crystals in a day.
Oh yeah, and let's not forget the thing that you mentioned, the kind of hidden Easter egg, the amount of arena that you can do in any given day is 100, correct? So if you are one of those people that are looking to push up in the ranks, especially at the tally, you have to consider, the amount that you have available per day and the time that you're looking to do it. You can't just, go ham with, 80 to 90 matches here and then hope that your last 10 to 20 will be able to get you where you need to be, right?
Yeah, if you're lacking maybe just a few days before the weekly or monthly reset, you might want to start catching up on your points real quick if you want to get that end of week or end of month reward.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, all right, fam. You heard it here first for the man, the myth, the legend himself. Eve, once again, my man, appreciate you coming on board and giving us a little insight on your Kina here as far as what you had to do to get up there in the top 10 challenge arena. Appreciate it, boss.
All right, yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's nice talking.
As always. All right, guys. So if you guys are watching on the video, do me a favor, show your support, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys all in the next one. Take care.